Matsuri is a girl who spends most of her time alone, as her mother is always away. Like any girl who longs for company, Matsuri constantly dreamed of having an older brother to play with and feel protected. One day, while turning on the television, she stumbled upon a band called Tarsido. Three very stylish boys appeared on the screen, and Matsuri was completely fascinated. It was the kind of band that just once seeing them, you want to become their #1 fan. Fast forward 3 years. Matsuri has grown up, but her obsession with the band remains the same. The curious thing is that Tarsido is still made up of the same three siblings: the eldest, Yuruka, the middle, Asuza, and the youngest, Masato. And here comes the big twist. One day, her mother calls her and drops a bombshell: she's getting married again. And the best part, or worst part, is that her future husband, that's right, Matsuri, will finally have older siblings. Her heart can't hold back the excitement. She runs home happily, eager to meet her new family. But when she enters, she gets the shock of her life. Her new brothers are none other than the boys from the band Tarsido. Yes, that band she's idolized since she was little, now living with her. Imagine the collapse. A month later, Matsuri is already living with the three of them and, what's more, has been transferred to the same school as them. But her first day doesn't start well at all. She finds them in the middle of an argument, in a tense and uncomfortable atmosphere. She thought they got along great, like on television, but in real life it's all fights and long faces. The band's manager warns her, "Don't let anyone find out you're their sister." And of course, she agrees. The last thing she wants is to damage the group's image. That same afternoon, when we get home from school, there's another fight. Matsuri goes up to her room, flips through some magazines, and sees articles that talk about the unity and brotherly love between the three of them. But she knows it's all a farce, and it hurts her. However, instead of complaining, she decides to take action. She'll throw a party to bring them together. She finds out what each of them likes and prepares everything with great care. But when the time comes, there's another fight, this time over a cake. Haruka and Masato argue loudly. Matsuri tries to calm things down by saying she loves whipped cream, but no one listens. Asuza tries to separate them to protect her because she's exhausted from watching her struggle so hard. And then she explodes. She throws a cake at their heads, hitting Asuza. The three of them are in shock. They've never seen her lose control before. And just as they look at her again, Matsuri faints. Total panic. They carry her to bed, worried. When she wakes up, everyone apologizes for ruining the moment. Matsuri also apologizes to Asuza for throwing the cake in her face. And then a lovely moment ensues. They decide to sleep together, like a real family. After that night filled with emotions and flying cakes, their relationship begins to improve. Matsuri begins accompanying her siblings to rehearsals and closely observes all the effort they put into their upcoming performance. She watches them silently, cheering them on with all her heart. The day of the show arrives. Matsuri prepares special snacks for them and goes in search of the dressing room. On the way, she bumps into a boy. She gets scared and runs into him. She quickly apologizes and continues on her way, not noticing that she dropped her badge. The boy picks it up and, judging by his expression, clearly recognizes her. Matsuri finds the right spot. She delivers the food to the boys, but realizes Asuza isn't there. They explain to her that he likes to be alone before the show to concentrate. So she goes to find him, his favorite dish in hand. But something feels off. Asuza is distant, thoughtful. She tries to start a conversation and asks if he's nervous. He avoids answering, but Matsuri persists. She tells him she believes in him, that he always shines on stage. Very sweet, isn't it? But then Asuza takes a step toward her and blurts out, "What if I told you I truly love you, that I don't see you as a sister?"
Boom.
A blow to the heart. Matsuri freezes, not knowing what to say. She only manages to wish him luck. And you run out, your heart beating like a carnival drum. The show begins. The place is packed. The fans go wild. She stands in the crowd, proud. But Asuza's words echo in her head. When he said that, I felt my heart stop. And if that weren't enough, the power goes out. Everything goes dark. No one knows what to do. Until Matsuri, as always, saves the day. She picks up her cell phone and starts screaming. The audience follows her, lighting their flashlights. The place lights up with a magical atmosphere. The three brothers, excited, continue the show until the end. It was incredible. That night, Asuza thanks him for what he's done. And he goes one step further. He officially confesses that he's in love with her. Matsuri is shocked, speechless. The next day, still processing everything, she goes for a walk alone after school. And Yuruka appears, as if nothing had happened, and tells her. And when she asks how he knew where she was, he replies, she feels happy for the affection, even if it's somewhat controlling. But then, the boy she bumped into, Subaru, appears. He turns out to be a childhood friend of Matsuri's, and also of the Tarsido kids. When he recognizes her, a super cute scene ensues. He tells her she's always been like a little sister to him. And they embrace, swirling around like in a romantic anime. Upon learning that she's now living with the Tarsido boys, Subaru asks to speak with her alone. Yuruka, though suspicious, accepts. Sitting in a corner, they reminisce about old times and childhood promises. Until Subaru tells him, Matsuri wishes him luck, but he has other plans. He kisses her on the cheek and from a distance looks directly at Asuza, as if to say, this is just the beginning. Matsuri is completely confused. And, to make matters worse, Asuza witnessed the scene. Tension in the air. The next day, as she leaves school, Subaru waits for her, very confident. She tries to avoid him, but he catches up to her. He returns her lost badge and insists on walking her home. On the way, he tells her he doesn't plan to give up and wants to become the perfect prince for her. Matsuri gets nervous. She doesn't know how to tell him that, in reality, his heart already belongs to Asuza. The next day, Asuza and her first date finally takes place. He takes her to visit an old mansion, and then they have dinner in front of a palace. But the evening takes an unexpected turn when an employee approaches Asuza and asks her to stand in for an actor at an event, portraying a prince. And of course, he agrees, but only on one condition, that Matsuri be the princess. They both participate in the performance. Although they wear masks, the connection between them is undeniable. At the end of the show, Matsuri, still excited, proposes. But the next morning, she panics because of what he said. She spends the entire day avoiding Asuza, even at school. He notices her odd behavior and confronts her. Finally, she opens up. He tells her there's no rush, they can take it slow. She feels understood and hugs him tightly. But the next day, a student stops her and shows her a photo of herself with Asuza. He threatens to publish it, claiming they're dating. Matsuri tries to deny it, but the boy insists, and it turns out to be Yamato, a member of Subaru's band. He tells her he wants to understand what's so special about her that two idols are in love with her and suggests they pretend to be a couple. Although uncomfortable, Matsuri agrees to avoid scandal. The next day, they show up at school together. Yamato announces, without any fuss, that she's his girlfriend. Matsuri, uncomfortable, climbs onto the roof alone. But he follows her. He asks if she's really dating Asuza. She denies it. Yamato begins to see something genuine in her. Her sincerity disarms him. He decides to delete the photo, and from that moment on, he sets out to truly get closer to her. Then, she tells him that her agency is looking for a girl to star in the music video for the new band, Prism, and suggests recommending her. Matsuri sees this as an opportunity to get closer to Asuza and feel worthy of him. When she tells him, Asuza supports her without hesitation. He tells her that if that's what she wants, he'll never be an obstacle. He hugs her, moved. The other siblings also encourage and support her. The next day, Matsuri films the music video as the princess being contested by the 4 members of Prism. The shoot goes wonderfully, and the group continues to gain prominence. Meanwhile, Matsuri tries to maintain a routine at home with the Tarsido siblings. She even organizes a schedule so they can take turns in the kitchen, since she's busy with training. Time passes, and the day of the long-awaited school basketball competition approaches. And guess what? Matsuri decides to participate. Although she doesn't know how to play very well, she signs up determinedly because the winner will receive an unexpected prize, an exclusive performance by the band Tarsido, singing just for her. But, as expected, the road won't be easy. The other girls on the team aren't at all happy about having a talentless rookie in the group. They start making fun of Matsuri, laughing at her mistakes. They even plot to sabotage her. In a tense moment, one of the players deliberately tries to throw the ball at her. But someone steps in to defend her. It's Yamato. He appears in the middle of the conflict and takes Matsuri's side without a second thought. She thanks him for his support, but tells him she prefers to train alone. Yamato quickly understands that this decision has to do with Asuza and suggests that she at least strive to become the best player she can be. Matsuri takes this advice to heart. She begins training every day on her own, pushing herself like never before. Later, she meets with Asuza and tells him she'll be back later in the next few days for training. Asuza is uneasy to hear that Yamato might be involved, but calms down when she explains that she trains alone. She arrives the day before the competition. While she's training, her teammates ask her to put the balls in storage. But it was all a trap. They lock her in there, intending to make her lose the competition, just because Yamato has been paying attention to her. Locked in the warehouse, Matsuri panics. She bangs on the door, screams, tries to get out, and just when she's about to give up, she discovers Yamato is also there, asleep in the corner. He'd been hiding because he'd been skipping practice and wanted to be alone. She runs over and asks for his cell phone, but the battery is dead. Matsuri despairs. After so much effort, she was about to lose everything because of jealousy. Yamato tries to calm her down. Outside, the situation is also complicated. The band Prism wins the vote and takes first place. For the first time in years, Tarcito falls to second place. The three brothers are devastated. The agency, without hesitation, decides to cancel Tarcito's plans and considers replacing them with a rival group. Asuza is outraged and refuses to accept that her band is coming to an end. Meanwhile, a storm begins outside. Rain, thunder, and that's when Matsuri discovers Yamato is terrified of storms. Despite everything, she approaches him and tells him she'll stay with him until the storm passes. Yamato is surprised by the gesture, and little by little, he lets his guard down. A very sincere moment emerges between them, even though they're separated by a makeshift barrier he'd built. The connection grows. Matsuri even laughs at his paranoia. He lends her his jacket, and the two become truly close. Soon after, the rest of the group finds them and manages to get them out of the warehouse. The next day, the competition takes place. And, against all odds, Matsuri gives it her all on the court. She wins the first round with flying colors. And of course, there's Yamato, proudly watching her. Meanwhile, Asuza is starting to feel the pressure of the competition. He and Yamato cross paths and have a less-than-friendly confrontation. Asuza makes it clear that he doesn't intend to give up on Matsuri. Yamato replies that he must accept that he could lose her, just as he's losing everything he had. Amidst all this tension, the second round arrives. Matsuri takes the court determined, plays with determination and wins. She's named the best player of the day. This entitles her to a private performance by the band Tarcito. But when her name is called, she doesn't appear. Instead, Asuza and her siblings take the stage and surprise everyone with a special performance. It was all Matsuri's idea. He preferred to share his award with the entire school and asked the kids to put on a show for all their classmates. And so they did. They sang their hearts out, in a wonderful mood. After that incredible performance, with the entire school singing in unison, the atmosphere between Matsuri and Asuza seemed better than ever. She thanks him very moved. But when she tries to talk to him, she gets a cold shower. Asuza decides to leave. He tells her he wants to be just a brother again. This shatters Matsuri inside. She doesn't understand anything, paralyzed in shock. Asuza's motive is clear. He wants to focus 100% on the band, regain Tarcito's popularity, and return it to the top. The agency has announced a competition between bands, and the most popular one will win a grand prize. Asuza is determined to win. The gang's representative appears and informs them that they'll be entering an intensive training regimen and that Matsuri will also be joining them at the agency's camp. Upon arrival, they discover that the Prism gang will also be participating in the training. In other words, their rivals are in the same place. The rules are clear. Only one band will emerge as the champion. The group must demonstrate unity, strength, and win over the audience with talent and charisma. May the best team win. Both teams begin training. Tarcito trains non-stop, with complete concentration. During one of their breaks, Matsuri tries to bring Asuza some water, but he completely ignores her. Her siblings notice this strange distance, but don't understand the reason. That night, it begins to snow. Matsuri steps outside to watch the snow fall, and there she runs into Subaru. Together they begin to reminisce about old times. He hugs her and promises to protect her forever, but Matsuri pulls away. When Subaru asks if she's still in love with Asuza, she tries to deny it, but he immediately notices. Yes, she is in love. Later, she goes out alone to look for a bracelet Asuza had given her that she had lost. Asuza, already suspecting something, goes looking for her and finds her outside, shivering from the cold. She insists on continuing to search because the bracelet holds great sentimental value for her. But the cold intensifies and Matsuri eventually faints. Asuza rushes her to her room. She cares for her tenderly. The next day, she wakes up feeling much better. The atmosphere improves between them. Matsuri prepares food for everyone, and Asuza, along with her siblings, praises her dishes, fascinated by their seasoning. But the peace doesn't last long. Suddenly, the press appears at the camp gate. An old photo of Subaru and Matsuri together has been discovered, and rumors are starting to circulate that they're dating. And if that weren't enough, they say that's why she participated in the Prism music video. It's all a lie, of course, but the damage has been done. The agency panics. Subaru is asked to stay out of the public eye for a while, and to top it all off, Prism's training is interrupted. Matsuri is devastated by the negative comments and blames herself for everything. Asuza tries to comfort her, telling her that worrying too much will only make her feel worse. Still, Matsuri decides to take action. She goes to see Subaru and tells him she's willing to give an interview to refute everything, but he refuses. He doesn't want her to get involved and end up hurt because of him. She insists, reminding him that he's always been a loyal friend since childhood, and that he doesn't deserve to face all this alone. Subaru is moved, thanks her, and confesses that he loves her. He asks her to stay away from the scandal. He'll sort everything out on his own. After that conversation, Matsuri returns home, but soon receives an unexpected request from Ka, one of the Prism members. He tells her to change her clothes because he needs her help with something urgent. Although confused, Matsuri agrees and goes to the indicated place. Upon arriving, she discovers that Ka only wanted to take her to a bar. There's Yamato, absent from training and completely isolated. It's clear he's not well. Ka confronts him and asks him to return to rehearsals, but Yamato says he can't find meaning in anything anymore, that he's unmotivated, tired, and feels like nothing is worth it. Matsuri also tries to talk to him, and at that moment, he makes an unexpected confession. He's in love with her too. Matsuri is completely shocked, not knowing how to sort out her own feelings. And as if that weren't enough confusion, the two men who had previously harassed her reappear. This time, with cell phones in hand, recording everything, they threaten to expose the truth. They claim that all idols are fake, that they live a lie just to win over fans. They say they'll post everything online, unless Yamato admits it's all a fake and that he only cares about fame. Matsuri loses her temper, grabs a glass, and without a second thought, throws it in their faces. He bravely defends Yamato, stating that the gang is real, that they work hard, and that no one has the right to destroy that. One of the boys becomes enraged and pushes Matsuri hard, almost throwing her against a glass window. But just before she can hurt herself, Asuza appears out of nowhere and catches her at the last second. However, he ends up injured instead. He's taken to the hospital with a serious cut. The band's manager tells him the doctor has ordered complete rest. Asuza's siblings breathe a sigh of relief knowing he and Matsuri are okay. She says it was Yamato who rushed her to the hospital and thanks him for that. But the atmosphere in the gang becomes tense. The manager decides they'll withdraw from the competition. He doesn't see any point in continuing with an injured member. Yamato tries to convince them to continue, but the decision seems final. Still, Asuza doesn't give up. He wants to fight. He wants to go on stage, even though he's hurt. As everyone else is leaving, Matsuri says goodbye too. But he stops her. He asks her to stay. She refuses. She says she doesn't want to be with him anymore, because she only causes problems. That he ended up in the hospital because of her. But Asuza speaks to him from the heart. We all make mistakes. That perfect image I give off. It's not all I am. I fall too. I'm scared. And you're not a problem. You're part of my strength. He takes her hand firmly. He assures her that he will take the stage. And he will prove that Matsuri belongs at his side. She decides to stay. And she promises to support him until the end. With the final show approaching, nerves are on edge. Tarcito doesn't have official permission to perform yet. But then, the unexpected happens. The Prism guys intervene. They go to the organizers and ask that Tarcito be allowed to compete. They want to compete truly, fairly, without an easy victory. After much insistence, permission is granted. Now, everything is ready for a worthy final. Tarcito resumes rehearsals, even with Asuza still recovering. He trains with determination, even though his arm is still injured. Matsuri stays with them the whole time, recording rehearsals, helping out where she can, doing everything to keep them motivated. The day of the show arrives. Asuza's wound is still fresh in her mind, but she doesn't even think about giving up. Before going on stage, he asks Matsuri to stay backstage. He tells her that her presence brings him luck, and that her eyes are the strength he needs. The first band to perform is Prism. Their show is electrifying, full of energy. The audience goes wild, screaming, singing, vibrating. They give it their all on stage. Before entering, the Tarcito boys thank Matsuri. They say that thanks to her, they've put the fights behind them and are a true team again. They take the stage with all their might. The connection between them is evident. The chemistry is strong. But then, the unexpected happens. In the middle of the performance, Asuza falls to his knees. His body is giving out. But instead of seeing it as a mistake, his brothers follow him, kneel beside him, and make the fall part of the choreography. The audience doesn't even notice it wasn't planned. Everything seems rehearsed, natural. The show is powerful. The audience goes wild. The Prism members watch them in awe. Even Matsuri, from the side of the stage, has eyes filled with excitement. She sees how much they've grown, how much they've fought to get there. She's overwhelmed with pride. When the show ends, she runs to hug Asuza and her siblings. She tells them how amazing everything was. And this time, without running away, Asuza walks her home. There he tells her he truly wants to be with her. That, despite the challenges, he'll protect their love and balance it with his career. And after so many ups and downs, they're finally together, strong, determined, ready to face whatever comes, as a couple and as idols. They went through fights, jealousy, conflicts with fans, sabotage, falls, and sacrifices. But in the end, what won was love, effort, and the courage to fight for the one they love. And so this story ends with a taste of victory, not only for the band, but for Matsuri, who started alone and found her place amidst all the chaos.